found advertisers spending 100 million a year, and I wanted to say to them we could potentially reduce that by 70% and get the same results.
Welcome to the Mastering E-commerce Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Eitan Koter, co-CEO of Vimy. In an era of rising acquisition costs and increased competition, this podcast is dedicated to helping you drive sales, engage customers, and build meaningful communities so you can turn passive visitors into active buyers. Now let's get started with the episode. Welcome back, listeners. Today's guest is Dan Chorlton. He's the CEO and co-founder of Goa Marketing, a leading SaaS platform helping enterprise advertisers unlock greater ROI from their Google Ads investments. With over £1 billion in their paid search optimized under his leadership, Dan brings deep expertise in automation, strategic insight, and spend efficiency at scale. From partnering with industry giants like MoneySupermarket and Diageo to developing proprietary algorithms that outperform standard tools, Dan and the Goa team are redefining what's possible in enterprise search performance. Outside of his work, Dan is also play electric violin or a techno at nightclub. So Dan, this is something we need to discuss probably towards the end of the episode. But before we get started, Dan, so first of all, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I'm very good today, thank you. It's a standard muggy summer's day in London here. It's not raining. Of course, I have to start off talking about the weather as I'm British, so I have to continue with those cultural norms. But yes, very well today, thank you.
I would like a good sunlight just coming in to your smiling face, so you look happy, so it's great.
I am very happy today, yes. Lots of good things going on.
Amazing. So Dan, before we get started, I usually ask my guests about 3 words that are most important to them. So I'd love you to share yours as well.
Oh, that's a great question. Thank you. So I've got 3 words today are adaptable, analytical, and ambitious. So adaptable, I've gone with adaptable because, well, you have to be in digital marketing these days. It's changing all the time. I couldn't even tell you how many times Google's changed in the last 3 or 6 months. And that's just really because I'm really focused on Google. But, if you look at all the other platforms, it is a changing landscape. Lots of interesting things. And that's not even talking about AI. Of course, I have to use the analytical because I have an analytics software. So, of course, I've got to get analytical in there. Otherwise, wouldn't be fair. And, of course, ambitious. As anyone who knows me, I am always keen to do the best possible job that I can. So those are my 3 words that I'd use to describe.
Amazing. Right, that's a great start. And adaptability is so important, right? Those who survive are the most adaptable one or flexible one or agile, human beings that are able to change quick. And, marketing is all about experimentation and having this flexible and agility in our mind just to do things and move fast. And then definitely as a SaaS company, right, you need to have that SaaS, developing processes that can be quickly, updated, even on a daily basis, right? Yesterday, customer feedback. So it's like all agility all over the place.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's key things. And that's really one of the big things that we do as well is helping our advertisers understand how to test things and adapt and change to the way that the new world is, the new features and the new things that Google have made available for them to maximize their advertising dollars.
Yes. So then what gap did you find in Google Ads that actually, made you launch Goa and actually think about the SaaS platform?
Well, so I first thought of Goa, I think it was in 2009, 2010. I just finished my first job in paid search. In fact, I was traveling around Thailand at the time, and I was thinking back to how crazy the situation is in terms of, they've got so many different things happening within the accounts that you just need to monitor and keep on top of. And it was, at the time, it was very much human-based checking. It just really made me think, actually, this is a really good opportunity for automation. So I think I started off using pivot tables and Excel and standard reports. And then, fast forward quite a few years, saw the opportunity to create an automation products that really helped advertisers keep on top of everything. So obviously, as you know, digital marketing is full of acronyms. So when starting the business with my co-founder, we of course decided to make an acronym for the name. So it's GOA stands for governance, opportunity, and accountability. So those are the 3 things that really the 3 pillars that we try to build our platform on. So governance, of course, is keeping track of everything that's happening, making sure that, the errors are being addressed Opportunities, of course, everyone likes an opportunity. And then accountability is really helping the senior leadership understand how that investment is going. So that really sort of saw that opportunity to create something that would take that heavy lifting away from the individual and help them keep on top of all of these different things. And I think, the analogy I often use, I don't know if you know the phrase, it's like death by 1,000 cuts. And that's usually how I find digital marketing campaigns really suffer. So you do have some instances where there is one big mistake that really causes an issue, but usually it's, £5,000 here, £2,000 here, £10,000 here, £50,000 here. And all of these things add up and generate a lot of wastage for the advertisers or misinvested advertising. So obviously, if they hadn't spent it on these areas of low return, they could have invested them in areas of high return. So that's one of the things that we really help our advertisers do. And then, of course, keeping on top of these changes and understanding how to maximize their investment in Google.
I don't know about your acronyms, right? But I'm thinking about a beach in India. So
That's the other one as well. Yeah.
It's too much details. I mean, don't interrupt my. You remind me of the great, great opportunities. I've been there so many times, and yeah. So I'd love you add governance to Goa. So that's a great first G, right? So you talk about just maximizing spend or maximizing efficiency, obviously spending efficiency. How do you define this today in real terms for advertisers out there?
So we usually like to try and, wherever possible, make sure it's focused on money. So whether it's cost saving or whether it be revenue upside or increased profitability or improve, COGS, whatever it may be, whatever the metric it is that the advertiser is looking to use. So we very much like to sort of align it with what the way that they talk about it internally, because then that way it's sort of, when they're socializing it internally and they're sort of sharing the information, sharing the updates, then it really helps them understand best possible situations from there. So I think usually what we usually like to say is something like contribution, which would be like revenue minus cost, or trying to get it as close as possible to something which sort of represents profit or whatever it may be. But as you know, it's always very difficult to get a lot of these numbers bang on point, obviously, with returns and all sorts of different things that, are a moving target when it comes to actual revenue attribution and understanding. So that's why we try and sort of simplify a little bit more when it comes to the testing situation. But then, of course, we do like to help people think about the bigger picture and really dive into the detail to make sure that they are maximizing their return.
Well, what do you mean about the bigger picture?
Well, it could be anything. I mean, it's like at the moment, macroeconomics are a big one. Obviously we've had Trump talking about his tariffs. We've got all sorts of other things in the world that really impact trading and impact performance. And I mean, of course, I hate to bring it up again, but AI is, of course, changing everything in the way that we're doing things. So, you've gone from, I was just talking to someone quite recently, and they were suggesting that, websites as we know it will be gone quite soon, and it will be agentic agents talking to each other to do your shopping for you, not personal shoppers. And, if is that a future that will be here soon? I don't think so, because I think one of the things that we're always guilty of in the marketing community, particularly technology side, is we always like to think that, we think of the bell curve of adoption, and we're very usually in the sort of the early stage. And you've got to remember that the mass market is usually a long way behind. So, for example, my mother, she will take probably quite a while until she actually starts to use some sort of agentic. So, she's, very happy Googling things for now. Yeah, it's fascinating to see how the world is changing.
Interesting. And so in your experience, how much of the Google Ads spent is wasted, right? For various reasons.
Oh, I mean, it really changes. I mean, I think one of the biggest ones that I think we ever found was advertisers spending 100 million a year. And I wanted to say to them, we could potentially reduce that by 70% and get the same results. That said, that's an edge case. But, if you're looking at our case studies, we've got all sorts of results of up to 50, 60% of reduction to whether it's CPA or improvement to ROAS, or, it does vary though, because, things is with case studies, they usually are one of the better results. But there is usually, given unless people have built a fantastic internal tool for automation and checking all of these different things, there always usually is a good significant amount of upside. So, take another advertiser that we brought on board. I think the material impact that we only made in the first, 6 months was 5% or 3%. I can't remember exactly what it was, but they were spending 80 million a year. So they're spending 80 million a year. That's, there's a lot of money on the table there. So, and that was just in the first 6 months. So there is usually a solid amount of money. What percentage it is does depend. But, I don't think we've come across an advertiser yet that we couldn't improve performance.
Nice. Very nice. And this is a clear ROI, immediate ROI advantages they can showcase. Yeah,
exactly that. And I think is with it a lot of the time we're seeing, because I don't know if you've seen, but recently I think Google's been sending out I can't remember whether it's GDPR or e-privacy, I can't remember what it is, but Google's now sending out notifications to people saying, sorry, but your tracking is no longer working, and it won't be working until you've done X, Y, Z. And I think it's quite a shock to a lot of people. So there's all sorts of things like that can really disrupt the business. I remember another one of our clients, I sat there with them saying, because I think early days when I was trying to open more doors to get going, I was like, look, why, we've got all these great case studies, we make a big impact initially. And I think the feedback was, well, number one, the case studies look too good to be true. And I was like, well, they're not, as you know now, because you're one of them. But the other one was what is my big burning problem? So what is my issue? And I think this person they had, e-commerce was great, the digital marketing was great, everything was going well, but the problem was they couldn't deliver the products because they couldn't get it. I think it was, they couldn't deliver to London flats or something, which was a huge percentage of their sales in London. So, all will in the world is like, I think that advertiser spends like 3-4 million on Google. And he's like, well, quite frankly, if you came to me now, I'd say, I don't really care. If you could save me 500,000, 1 million, great, but I'm still not be able to deliver these things. So, it's very interesting because within it, I think particularly when you're focused on one particular channel, you can get too focused and too just think that is all it is. But a lot of the time it's just, maybe the checkout process is broken, or, they haven't updated to the latest version of Firefox, which actually weirdly represents 6% of traffic, which means that no one in that 6% of traffic can check out. So I think that's what I mean. It's not just the macroeconomic situation. It could be a business issue. Or I remember another business that we looked at and they were saying, oh, it's also, can you help us with the digital marketing? I was like, yeah, we could probably save you 10% of your 10 million budget. But at the moment, the problem is people need these products within a week and it takes you 4 weeks to deliver them. So whatever happens, if you continue down that route, all of your competitors are dropping it in 2-3 days. You're dropping it in 4 weeks. It's I think it was a car part or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's something that you need quickly because you can't work your car without it. And I have so many of these conversations where I'm just like, yeah, but it doesn't really matter. I could do all these things for you. I could change the world, but ultimately you're still going to be losing, you're going to be losing customers. You're going to have issues with retention. So that's kind of what I mean by that front.
Got it. I mean, so many things need to just be in the right place. So you mentioned, supply chain and inventories, but like CRO is such a big topic. How do you convert and to make sure people transact accordingly? And what are some of the mistakes you see companies are doing when launching Google Ads campaign?
That's a great question. I think what they often do would be, I think often they don't test things rigorously enough, and then they don't trust the results of the tests. So, Google comes out with new products all the time, and Google's often very keen for people to move on to those products. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work as well. Take for example, like smart bidding or, bidding algorithms. So when did it first turn up? I think it was like 2016 or 15. It was terrible not terrible. It didn't work until 2017, 18 or 19. I can't remember. It took quite a few years, but now it's the industry standard. People will use it across the board. It handles so many more computations and bids and all sorts of things that any human could manage. So, for most cases, it's the best thing to do. Mm-hmm. So I think one of the ones is, really jumping in without testing things rigorously. And I think also, just not necessarily listening to their consumers, not doing enough feedback testing, and just making sure that they're not actually, making sure they're actually listening to the people who are buying the product. I think one of the big ones I regularly get people to look at is their customer reviews and their competitor customer reviews, because you can very quickly and easily see points of differentiation that you can then talk about on the search engine results pages. So I think, just like not really sitting back and taking in taking things into account. And I think also sometimes getting lost in KPIs or maybe having the wrong North Star metric or the wrong main metric. Like often people will be revenue is our key driver. And it's actually, well, revenue probably shouldn't be your key driver. It probably should be new customer profitability or new customer repeat rate or whatever, something like that. I mean, it's like revenue is often just the one because everyone in the business understands it, but sometimes it doesn't paint the full picture and leaves people, potential errors on the table because people will trust the wrong data.
Yes. Yeah. One of the problems is the overwhelming amount of data. You don't know what to prioritize and what to look at. And I know that Goa, you have your own interface that surfaces insights, right? In addition to what Google is surfacing. So what are the major differences between your dashboard and Google?
So the main difference really is we are focused on efficiency for our advertisers. So Google is interested in providing efficient marketing, but also they make their money from marketing. So, they're a business. So they're their number one people they need to probably be careful of is their shareholders and customers to a certain degree. But I think also one of the key things that we do is we're very much focused on customization as well. So making sure that we're adapted to the business KPIs, the marketing KPIs. And then we also help people navigate the latest and greatest changes from Google, and test them and how to test it and how to get the best results. So I think that's usually where we see the big point of differentiation. So we're very much a SaaS platform, but we do provide some sort of, it's not much. It's like, maybe an hour a quarter or something like that, where, people will listen to their problems or listen to what they're trying to achieve, and then also help them create a testing plan or maybe do some ad copy testing workshops or whatever it may be, just to help them get these new processes started so they can drive efficiency and effectiveness with those new processes.
Yes. Yes. So another topic I want to really discuss with you is about all the latest changes with AI. We see all these AI responses, right, from Google. Obviously, more search has been done on ChatGPT and Gemini and like other platforms as well. What are the things that you can share with our listeners that are shaping the industry right now? Do you see any dramatic change, or is it just how can you define what's happening right now in terms of spending in Google, or to the best of your knowledge?
I mean, yeah, it's very hard to define what's happening right now because, keeping up with Google is a job in itself, understanding all the changes there and how to best implement them. But then, looking at what LLM to use, do you use, I use Claude mainly. I do use a bit of ChatGPT, sometimes DeepSeek, sometimes a bit of Amazon. It depends really on which client, because some of our clients have restrictions in place as well. So, just keeping it on top of what's the best LLM to use for that specific use case as well is also a big new area. But I think, people do definitely need to be looking at AI. I think there's a lot of people who are saying, oh yes, it will completely change the world and everything will be fine with it. I saw there was a recent use case. I can't remember which is, I think it was a finance mortgage company that completely trusted their algorithms and, were valued at 300 and something million. 6 months later, valued at $0 because they trusted algorithms too much and not had enough human intervention to make sure it was on the right track. Because there's a lot of bias. It's a lot of hallucinations. There's all sorts of things that happen within it. So, ultimately, I used to say AI like that for quite a long time, just because other people kept on telling me off and saying that I shouldn't be doing that. But for me, it's still automation. It does have, it follows processes. It can do some amazing, number crunching. It can do some amazing, it's machine learning, but it pointed in the right direction. It can be fantastic and really change a lot of things. It is doing amazing things. The amount of things you can just do with it now is incredible. So I think people do need to take that into account, but also they need to remember, data privacy issues, GDPR, all these wonderful things that are there that they need to make sure that they are, particularly if they're at a big brand who has spent billions and billions and billions building that brand over years, that could, they could ruin that brand's reputation by taking the wrong step. So I think that is, it's an area definitely to be looking into, but you need to approach it with trepidation and make sure that you are not fully diving in and just trusting it completely. That is a big area. I think particularly when it comes to Google Ads as well, I think there's a lot of really exciting opportunities. So looking at a really recent change. So I don't know if you know about the RSA ad unit. It's effectively the text ad in paid search. It's the text image, no, just the text, not the image one. So that recently added a whole load of new metrics, which is going to help shape and change ad copy testing. So, and that was 3 days ago, 5 days ago. I can't really keep track. And obviously we've got all the new Google products. So there's the demand gen, PMax, all these, Performance Max, all these different things. So where you spend your money. So, big questions people need to be asking at the moment is, should I be doing Performance Max or should I be doing traditional shopping? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? And there's no right answer. It depends on the business, depends on what you're trying to do. Another thing as well, I see a lot of is people just saying, yeah, everything has to be bid to profit. It's profit this, profit that. And I was like, well, but then how do you change the system to, I don't know, you've got the end of winter, you've got 10,000 scarves left. How do you then game the system without, and if you've got everything coming from your feed, how do you change the profitability to make sure this happens and that happens? It's just like, it's just, it's a very complex area and there's still so many nuances and changes and things that need to be taken into account. And particularly when you're doing it across multi-market, multi-product. So I think, there's a lot of really exciting opportunity within Google Ads still. It's so much more expensive than it used to be. I mean, it's been going up year on year on year for many years now. So it's understanding. I think the biggest opportunity really is what's the right mix. Where should I be investing? Is it how much in Google, how much in Meta, how much in TikTok, how much in programmatic, how much there? Also what we're going to do about SEO and AI. The LLMs and all that side. So it's an AI overview. So if you're very much predominantly Google based business at the moment, there's a big risk coming on the horizon. And I think, the final one I'll say as well is I think it's fascinating how ChatGPT is going down the affiliate model effectively. So I believe rather than charging advertising spend, so to speak, I think OpenAI said they're going to go down a percentage of sale. So how is that going to change everything? So, consumers, are they going to be recommending the right thing for a consumer? Are you, going to trust it blindly if it's, one airline, they make 2%, another airline, they make 10%. Which one are they going to show? My guess would be the 10%. So it's, so it's a fascinating changing time. I think it won't be as fast as a lot of people are saying, but I think it will be very quick to change.
Yes, very, very interesting. Specifically regarding automation, what are some of the processes that you automate and how do you ensure, in terms of automation that you guarantee brand safety and compliance?
So we have a whole suite of brand safety checks. We help a lot with compliance. We help a lot in all these areas. So we have lots of tried and tested methodologies that we have that in the platform that work. But then we also have a lot of other things on top, which are more enhanced data analysis and different ways of looking at Google Ads. So for example, one thing that a lot of advertisers don't know is that RSA ad units, that text ad unit, a lot of the time only shows one headline. Whereas actually, a lot of advertisers will put maybe, for example, their value proposition in headline 2. So therefore they only have brand, but no value propositions. Therefore they're not competitive when you look at the search, so they don't have the offer. Or the RSAs will often optimize out sale or an offer, which is critical to the business. So I think it's there's a lot. It's a very interesting time.
Yes, for sure. And also you mentioned LLMs and, some of your machine learning processes. How is your algorithm, differ from the built-in, Google's, machine learning?
Good question to say is, ours is very much built around tried and tested methodologies. So these are the things that we know have worked time and time again that we include. Then what we can also do is we can turn them off. So for example, if someone comes on board, we go, yeah, you're doing that. Great. You don't need that. We'll just get rid of that. No need for that site. So lots of different things we can do from that side to really help advertisers maximize their performance. And also I think that's where the human element comes in as well. So, we are very much a SaaS platform, but we do have some of the world's top paid search experts working in the business who then have a look over it, discuss things, say, challenged clients sometimes say, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And that's, where often we can get, that collaboration process of working with the team who understand their business better, but then also getting insights from an independent expert who's there to really help drive performance.
Got it. there is any importance to the niche that your customers are operating, if it's like FMCG or finance or other niches?
So then we've got a pretty good spread actually. So so the way I break paid search down is obviously e-commerce, lead generation, and then branding through search, or there was a great name I heard for it the other day, which is it's right trying to reposition it, but effectively it's branding through search. So majority of our clients are performance based, so e-commerce or lead gen. We do have a few branding through search, but yeah, I think it's not any particular niche. It's just sort of just we focus very much on the enterprise market, so people spending more than like $1 million a year on Google Ads. That's not necessarily due to the fact we couldn't help smaller advertisers, but it's just more because that's the focus of quite a small business. So keen to keep it in that respect. Yeah, so mainly we're sort of focused on the larger end of the market because that's really what the platform's been built for. So enterprise businesses and really helping them do that at scale.
And what are the major reasons they start working with you?
That they start working with us is, just having seen tried and tested results. We get a lot of our business as well from people who've used us before and understand, what great insights we can provide. And we're also getting a lot of interest as well from some of the new products as well. So we get a lot of referrals and people interested in new AI products that we've been building as well.
Yes, got it. And then you're doing amazing things outside of work. Please share it with us as well.
Yeah, so I DJ a lot. I produce a lot of music. I've got a weekly radio show that goes out to a lot of people. So it's Friday night, 11 o'clock on Select. So it's on the radio waves as well as on the internet, which is really cool. So my name is Danek for that. So I do a lot of music from that side. And yeah, that really does take up a lot of time because I do produce and write a lot of music as well as DJ, and I DJ 3, 4, 5 times a month as well. So it's
really
busy times.
All over the world or in your region?
So yeah, all over the place. I mean, I was actually meant to be in Ibiza all season this year, but there's just too much going on at Goa, so I had to cancel my residency there, unfortunately. But hoping to get to Mexico and Tulum in January as well. So that'd be nice to go over there and play a lot of the jungle parties and things like that are happening. So that'd be really fun. And just really, I've got a lot of things coming up, which is cool. But thankfully I've got a great team at Goa who keep everything moving. If I'm off DJing somewhere.
Yeah, talking about work-life balance, huh?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Nice. Then what are some of the tips you can provide to companies out there, right? Considering, maybe whether to upgrade, to increase their budget, or just starting out with Google Ads?
Well, just starting out, very much focusing on a few things. So if your lead generation, just start out with very relevant keywords in exact match, focus in there, build it with time, making sure they're very, very relevant to your business and what you are doing. Then add on all of the additional reach opportunities. I'd say with with e-commerce, really depends. So sometimes it's a mixture of like some advertisers like to put their sort of their main selling products into Performance Max to maximize all the potential reach across the Google platforms there. Other people like to keep their main products separate and just focus. They put the main products into shopping so they can really maximize the return there, and then use the long tail to sort of find new customer acquisition. The thing is, there's no right answer with it. Just really what you need to do is just test it based on your consumer base. Because it's an ever-changing landscape. What your competitors are up to, who knows? So I think that's really, there's a lot of different things as well. Other big tips I'd say at the moment is really dive into ad copy testing. Words and images and creative really matter. And people so many times say, yeah, it's fine. I've got this happening. It's like, no, think about what you're doing. What is your value proposition? What's your point of differentiation? Are you using call to action? Are you using a call to value? What are you doing and how are you trying to win that click or win that consumer to come to your website? Because, it's, the economic situation does look better, but, it's still not, the growth is not quite as there as it used to be. So it's, it's a very competitive time. And of course, lots of people are diving into Google to look to sort of generate revenue, generate income. So, really, really make sure that you're maximizing your opportunity. And test things, but make sure you assign a test budget. Give it enough, but not too much, because that's a critical thing.
That was my next question. So how do you test, right? It's additional campaign, additional budget, right, for testing. And what is the time frame you usually recommend for testing?
So I always go for a statistical significance depending on the situation. So for me, I use chi-squared test as my go-to significance. I'd say I'd maybe do like 2 or 3 versions of an 80% test, or aim for a 90+% test. So you can work out how long the test would be depending on the number of clicks and the number of conversions that you get. There's lots of different ones. Like I think the Visual Website Optimizer had a really good one, VWO, I think it is .com, but they had a really cool one. So search for statistical significance. How long should my test take? That's a big one that I, always recommend to people. And yeah, I think the big thing is really just depending on how big a business decision it is. That's how many times you should test, or how rigorous the testing should be. If it's something quite small, sometimes you don't even need to test it, just try it out. But if it's a big thing, make sure you test it rigorously and make sure you've tried it out. Like, for example, the amount of times I've seen businesses saying, yeah, we'll just put a new website live. Conversion rates plummet. And you're just like, no, what are you doing? Just because it looks nicer doesn't mean it's going to work better. I mean, look at Amazon. The website is not aesthetically pleasing. It converts. Once you're in the conversion funnel, you're out. They get you through. Boom, boom, boom. Get out. So, and people will either listen to the graphic designer too much, or maybe they'll listen to the hippo, so the highest paid person in the organization, too much, and it's really, they're not the people using the website. So that's, and actually one of the biggest ones I always say to people is just try and buy something. Like, just try it out. Does it work? Because if you've tried it and you go on their website and you try to buy something and it doesn't work, then you've got a problem.
For sure. Great, Dan. So how people can find Goa and you?
So you find me on LinkedIn. So it's Dan Chorlton. So CHORLTON. Well, it's there, but just in case you're listening only. So you can find me on LinkedIn. Please do reach out there, or you can go to Goa.marketing to reach out to the team and find out more about the business.
Amazing. Great, Dan. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's it. It's been a very enjoyable time. But thank you very much for having me on. It's been great to have a chat about, e-commerce.
Yes, very, very interesting. Thank you so much for your time and great values, and I wish you all the best and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the end of this episode. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe so you won't miss any of our future content. Explore Vimy, the video commerce platform that includes live shopping, shoppable video, and social commerce capabilities. Visit Vimy at www.vimy.net. We appreciate your support and look forward for bringing you more valuable insight in our next episode.